Hey YouTube, I don't know why, sorry I turned you around all of a sudden. I don't know why it keeps thinking that I want the light on my phone when I'm doing these videos. I don't know, some software update trying to get you. You got you on a tripod. I just didn't dig my one out of the garage. So it's being stubborn. I'll just hold you. So we got a couple things I'd like to bring up. Some of you guys mistook the upgrades that I'm doing to my bike as problems with the bike. They aren't. Everything works as it should. I'm just doing the upgrades for longevity purposes. I probably ride more than the average rider will, and that's enough said about that. I want to future-proof my bike too. I'm going to find you a place to sit where it's not in the sun and I can put you a little ways away from me. About the back of my truck. So, future-proof the bike. That's why I'm looking at 8-speed stuff, because 7-speed is on its way out. As much as people would like to think it'll stick around a while, through the evolution of bikes, they started out as 3 speeds, went to 5 speeds, 6 then was the thing, 7 was the thing, about 1990 something. So 7-speed bikes have been around since for 30 years more or less. And then came the evolution to 8-speed, which only happened a few years later after 7-speed. 9, 10, 11, and 12 speeds now in a single cassette. So, I thought Karen was yelling at me. So you're looking at 12 speeds as the current. As a matter of fact, instead of people buying triple chainring mountain bikes, we have single chainring mountain bikes. And in compact size, first was full-size chain rings for mountain bikes, which were 48 tooth and larger. For the top tooth, I think they went 48, 38, and 28 when they first came out as triple chain rings with the front derailleur for mountain bikes. And then they went compact, which was, I think the big gear was 42 and 32 and 22. And larger cassettes in the back. So the evolution of the bike has come a long ways. Now it seems like we're de-evoluting with the front chain rings. People are going back to simplifying bikes. It's one less thing you have to worry about breaking. But I've never really ever had a problem with front derailleur as long as it's set properly and in the right place. They never really need any adjustment. So I'm just future-proofing my bike, and I would like to have a cassette body versus a freewheel. The cassette body has a 3 bearings, 2 bearings in the cassette body itself, one on the outer edge of the cassette body that rides on the axle, one on the inner side that that allows the cassette to do, and then you have a ratcheting mechanism that's pretty simple. It's like 3 paws and ratchets in the inside of the cassette body, and the cassette itself has no moving parts per se. They just slide onto splines, and that's how it's locked onto the body. And then you have a locking ring on the top, and pretty much it. So, and it makes it easier to change, makes life just easier overall. So, I already talked about greenbikeskits.com having all those parts necessary to do that conversion. Another thing is racks. Don't have a rack. Don't plan on buying one. That's why I bought the boxes. In my experience, Racks can be two things. They can be helpful or they can be harmful. Some people swear by them. I'm not one of them. Even the quality ones have a chance of losing your bike off the back of whatever it's on. Uh, my RV does not allow anything to be mounted to the bumper. And there's some people out there saying that there's racks that are RV approved by all the manufacturers. Well, my tag on my bumper says do not mount anything other than a spare tire on this bumper. So it's not rated. So not every RV allows you to have a bike rack hanging off the back bumper. And besides, that's a long ways from the cab of the truck. And even though I have a camera on the back of my RV, I don't think that you would react fast enough if you seen a bike that was loose that you could do anything about it. Then you have the problem of locking them to the rack, and people messing with your bike if it's not secured. We're just going to store ours in the RV. Don't have to worry about them falling out on the road unless the whole back of the RV falls off. I have never had a rack mounted to the back of my truck. A receiver rack. Never. I've recommended some based on name brand, based on experience. Ceres, Yakima, Thule. They all make good racks, but you also run the risk of losing your bike off the back of them. And don't think it doesn't happen. I've had many people come in with a front wheel and say, how much will it cost me to replace the rest of the bike because it's damaged beyond repair? Or they bring a bike in and I tell them that, well, even though it looks fine, the frame's been tweaked and it's out of alignment now. Because they do not usually survive a 70-mile-an-hour fall very well. And not to mention it's probably going to get ran over. So my feelings is if you have to use a bike rack, then you have to use it. But tell your insurance company that you are using a bike rack and how much your bike costs that you're storing on it. And make sure that your insurance company will cover it if it falls off. Because not all of them do. Some of them have a limitation of $250. And there isn't an electric bike out there that costs $250. So you need to keep that in mind. Sorry about the compressor going off. I had to put air in the tires today. The reason I couldn't keep up with carrying is because I only had 12 pounds in both my front and back tire. So keep that in mind. Check your insurance company and make sure that you have coverage for your bikes if they're stolen off the rack or fall off the rack. And believe me, sooner or later, if you still ride enough miles with your bike on the back of your vehicle, you're going to either have a close call or you're going to lose a bike. And you may not even know you lost it, especially if it doesn't set above your trunk or your bed of your truck. So my suggestion is stay with the name brand. Don't say skimp money on it, because you just get what you paid for with a bike rack. And there's a lot of people that swear by them. I just don't happen to be one of them. I wish I could tell you a number of people that came to me when I worked in a bike shop and said they lost their bike off the rack and what kind of racks they were using, but my memory isn't that good. All I know is there was a few. More than 3, let's put it that way. Some of them swore up and down. And we sold them, in some cases, sold them the rack that the bike was lost off of, and swore up and down they had it mounted properly and the bike rack failed. And when they bring the bike rack in, you can't really find nothing faulted with it. So you got to wonder if they actually had it mounted, if they forgot something or not. And it might be that, or it might be that they hit a bump that was so catastrophic that the rack could not hold the bike. And so, that's my thoughts on bike racks. If you're going to buy one, buy a name brand, don't skimp. Buy one that's purposely built for the bike that you're riding. Or put it in a box and put it in the back of your vehicle. That's the most secure method for it. Secure the box in your vehicle too. Don't just let it fly around in there. If you have an accident, who knows where that bike's going to end up, and it's probably going to be somewhere where you don't want it. Back of the head, maybe. So, get a box, secure it in your vehicle, buy a decent rack, not a name brand. Check your warranty on the rack. Check your insurance on your vehicle. See if it's covered under your policy. If you don't, many of them will probably offer you an additional policy to cover that. So keep that in mind. Just my thoughts on bike racks. Just a little update on why I'm upgrading. Don't take it as a fault with the bikes. And just remember that the bike manufacturers, all of them, try to save money where they can. But in our case, they save money in spots that they shouldn't have saved money on. And it might have been just the fact that the manufacturer that made the bike for them did not have those parts available to them. So keep in mind, upgrade. Karen's brake is better, but it's still not good, and it's got to be the cable. I've eliminated everything else. It's got to be the cable that's causing the issues. It's not letting the brake caliper return all the way to the open position is my thoughts. So I'm going to replace her brake cable and housing soon, and I'll do a video on it. It's an easy job. Don't require any special tools. Cable cutters maybe, but I will make sure I have some solder on hand the next time I mess with it, and I'll show you the trick of you solder the cable before you cut it, and when you cut it, it doesn't unwind. So have a great day. Please subscribe. Went for a nice 14-mile ride today. Ended up with almost 50 volts. So I'm doing most of the pedaling. Tires lose a little air pressure, so keep that in mind. Every couple of weeks, probably check it. Every week if you ride a lot. But check your tire pressure. So please subscribe. Have a great day.